Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, as the MC mentioned, I would like to convey the regrets from my minister as, he had to take an emergency leave to go home. But let me start by extending my gratitude to the Global Center for Climate Mobility and Robert Bosch Stiftung. I got that right this time, yeah? Stiftung. For hosting us in their continued leadership and advance in the global climate agenda. Actually, it was very interesting, to be here and listening to the very interesting and very experienced panel, and who spoke very eloquently about the emerging trends, the challenges, and the opportunities which the climate mobility could bring. And let me also share my experiences. We haven't been on the panel, unfortunately, and so let me share some of the experiences regarding the climate mobility. Although there is no mass migration yet, there is internal movement from the most vulnerable islands to the capital of Maldives, to the less vulnerable islands with better infrastructure. This process can be influenced by both climate pressures and the search for great employment, education, healthcare, and other opportunities which have been, very much explained and discussed yesterday. And, several years ago, I think it was in 2004 with the tsunami, after that, I had an opportunity to meet the relocated communities. Of course, that wasn't anything to do with climate change, but it was due to the tsunami. And this was somewhere in the northern Maldives. And unfortunately, the story is not the best to hear. And, it's the same people, we speak the same language, same race, same religion, almost even the same faces. And it's been almost 2 decades after the tsunami. And the pity is, the communities which they were moved into, they are still finding a hard time to, mingle and blend into. So something really, fundamental must have gone wrong. Or maybe something really fundamental we haven't even thought through the whole process. So, you see, for decades, we've approached climate mobility with a disaster mindset. We speak of climate refugees, forced displacement, managed retreats. We count the victims, we calculate the loss, we plan the evacuations. But what if we have been thinking about this completely wrong? What if we have thought about innovative adaptation rather than migration? What if we have what if who have migrated internally or externally aren't fleeing their homes but building bridges between vulnerability and opportunity? What if the whole ecosystem has been adapting to the climate change impacts? So for a moment, let's just go into a very hypothetical world. Imagine, fishermen uploading the real-time sea level data from the very vessels out in the sea. A woman in the island designing a floating solar array so that she can power the islands with renewable energy. A community leader is planning the resilient infrastructure so that they don't have to move or migrate. Innovations are at fingertips. Financial centers are providing the financing which is required for that transformation so that all the programs could be rolling out in the atolls. So the next discussions is going to be about, you mentioned it's about going to be the climate change, the mobility and the ecosystem. So, within this, all the elements from the hypothetical world, that's what we would want to actually see in a real ecosystem, right? Capacity is built, innovation spreads to foster the resilience, and the resilience increase in the lives, and everyone is flourishing and living happy. Isn't that what we want? Okay, but that might have been too dramatic and too somewhere up in the sky. So, but let's look at the reality, Looking around the world, there are many success stories. Even yesterday, we have heard, of course, both the sides, but with a lot of success stories. From the Pacific Islands to the Caribbean, from Bangladesh to the Netherlands, there are lots of good stories. They are creating new forms of governance, new economic models, new financial models, and new networking. Yes, this success might not be yet to the level in the hypothetical world. As the climate clock ticks, we need a revolutionary change. Not just to our multilateral systems, financial mechanisms, or policy frameworks, but to the very way of our thinking. We really need to think outside the box so that this transformational change could be brought in. Beyond social inclusions, technological transformation, and financial availability, we need common understanding among all the parts of this ecosystem. So let me close this with final element of where we encountered a huge misunderstanding, and I think it still lingers in many discussions. For a small island like us, of Maldives, where islands, we've got like 1,200 islands, and islands are, geographically dispersed. And small islands, I don't know, how many of you have been in Maldives? For those who have been in Maldives, you would have a sense of, yes, these are the real small islands that we are talking about, because some of the small islands the basket that we are put in, I wouldn't say some of those small islands are not the real small islands like us. If you look at the capital, Male, it's barely 5 square kilometers. Imagine 5 square kilometers. Maybe that's a small suburb of Berlin, even smaller than that. And so for us to have the connectivity between the islands is very vital. And to get this connectivity, we have to build the causeways and bridges. There's no other way. And the undeniable truth is, according to the definition of some of the financial institutions, these are called infrastructures. We've approached, we want the finance to be coming in to build these bridges and causeways and to make this connectivity so that, the livelihood and economy could foster. But, we've been many times told that that is not climate change adaptation, that is infrastructure development. Come on. It's infrastructure development on your page, but no, for us, it's not about infrastructure development. It's about the connectivity and building the resilience for the climate change impacts. So unless, we are on the common page between these financial institutions and us, it would be, we are far from realizing the resilience that we are looking at. So I would leave at that, and thank you very much once again for the opportunity. Thank you.